Hello, welcome to Lazada Insider, featuring knowledge that makes a difference. We share trusted insights, forward-looking perspectives, and exclusive expert interviews to keep you ahead of the curve.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lazada Insider Future of Commerce series. I'm your host, Katrina from Lazada. Today's consumers expect more relevant information and experiences, and they want to feel heard, understood, and engaged as individuals across moments and channels. And this will become even more important for business who wants to remain competitive in an increasingly crowded marketplace. So today we have expert panel guests joining us from Singapore Management University and also from Synagie. We will delve into how business can create a personalized experience across shopping journey with the help of digital commerce tools. And we will also discuss about the future trends of personalization in the years to come. So joining us today, we have Dr. Sungjong, Assistant Professor of Lee Kong Chian School of Business from Singapore Management University, and Sonia Season, Head of Performance Marketing from Synagie, and Wong Pei Ji, Vice President of Channel Development and Management from Synagie as well. So to start with, may I invite all of you to let our audience know more about you? Maybe let's hear from Dr. Ro first.
All right. Well, thank you for the introduction and a pleasure to be here. I'm a business school professor studying and teaching computational data science and analytics and consumer decision making.
How about you, Sonia?
Hello, I'm Sonia Season. I'm very happy to be here. Currently, I'm the head of performance marketing. We are currently doing a lot in terms of our partnership with Lazada as a trusted e-commerce marketing partner.
Excellent. Paige, you want to give us the introduction of yourself?
Sure. Thank you. So I think first of all, on behalf of Synagie, really thanks for inviting me as part of this discussion. So I'm Paige. I've actually been with Synagie for 8 years. So I've actually worn various hats throughout my journey. So currently, I'm actually leading a team of 70 throughout the region to manage close to 1,000 of e-stores across the 12 digital channels in Southeast Asia. I think also happy to share that in the latest round of Enable assessment by Lazada, we actually have been rated 3-star across the markets of Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, as well as Vietnam, demonstrating our excellence in store operation as well as execution.
Great introduction. Let's dive right into today's discussion on personalization, maybe with Paige first. So in your opinion, what does personalization actually mean in digital commerce and how important it is to create a personalized experience?
Okay, I think personalization aims to actually attract customer through communicating different messages that actually feels familiar and also aligned to their present interests. So this can be actually done through content experience for each of the different customer group. So there are also some recent reports that actually also suggest that actually personalization can contribute up to 10% higher average order value, as well as a 40% higher conversion and 50% reduction in terms of abandoned cart. So these actually show how important it is for personalization. But I think also we will need to keep in mind that from the impact to sales perspective, this might be the third step for the business, depending on how mature your business is. So I think first of all, we have to get our basics right? So start to build your customer base as well as your followers from your store design, your user flow, as well as your promotional deals, campaign participation, your customer service management as well as fulfillment management. I think those are the basic things that a store has to be on the right track first. And secondly, then from there, you can actually build your sales and also understand your customer better. So with that, getting your marketing campaigns up and also do some analysis in terms of organic as well as paid ad points of view to understand your customer base. And with both in place, then we can also then now craft a personalized experience for each of your identified customer groups, including your repeat buyers. So that would then help to improve the conversion AOV as well as repeated purchases, as I mentioned earlier.
What is your thought on this, Dr. Ro?
Well, personalization built on machine learning in e-commerce matters because it can provide information that goes beyond what we may obtain from a customer self-report. One major discovery in behavior decision science over time is that the greatest stranger to ourself is oftentimes ourself. So when asking consumers what they like, they will answer easily, but at least the two types of mistaken information could be obtained from such self-reporting. One, consumers think they know what drives their preferences, what causes their preferences. They might say they purchase something because of its color, for example, but they may not be reliable. Two, consumers oftentimes overestimate the stability of their preferences. This is why a subscription service works so well. But the truth is, if there's one thing that won't change in our life, is the fact that our preferences change over time. So predictive models and machine learning behind the personalization can preemptively address true drivers and changes in consumers' needs and wants, of which those consumers might not be even aware.
How about you, Sonia? You have anything to add on?
Yeah, so I think in this day and age, with digital commerce being so accessible, you often find the average consumer at multiple stages of the consumer journey, which is a bit difficult for brands to kind of pin down. But given that, we're seeing that they are actually requesting for more messages that are targeted towards these specific points in their journey. In fact, we're seeing that research is showing 63% of our consumers being highly annoyed or even frustrated with brands that continue to blast generic advertising messages repeatedly. So there is this need to drive more specific messages to our customers. Yeah.
Well, I know that to develop, and to delight consumers with a bit of personal touch, Lazada has created many tools for merchants to use. So the next question is for Sonia. So Sonia, I would like to hear from you based on your experiences with many brands and many sellers. What are some ways in which sellers can use Lazada platform tools to personalize the consumer journey from discovery to purchase all the way to loyalty?
So Lazada's platform tools, including its marketing solutions, has personalization in mind when it was created. How it does this is it analyzes the consumer's purchase behavior, and from there it utilizes that to build the customer's product recommendation list. So it's highly curated according to the customer's behavior on the platform. We as marketers, what we do with this is we promote our brand's products, and we use the Lazada recommendation list to kind of complement their journey in the platform. So you can kind of break it down in the three phases. In the discovery phase, a solution that we think works really well for our marketers would be the first search slot, right? With awareness at its forefront, you're able to really personalize the recommendations based on their search queries, which is quite an awareness portion. Then moving on to the purchase phase, sponsored discovery is able to kind of retarget these users according to their behavior in the store as well as their behavior in other stores within the category. Then last on the loyalty phase, you're able to retarget them based on personalized messages that you want to send out using the CEM tool based on their audience cluster that they fall under. So quite a lot, very exciting.
I mean, thanks a lot for sharing that. I mean, there's no doubt this trend of personalization is on the rise, but so as the data privacy concerns. And there seems to be a little bit of a continuous tension here. So, Dr. Rowe, why is it important and how can sellers balance this consumer's desire for personalization, but also the growing concern on privacy and data security?
Yeah. Personalization is becoming difficult and needs a balanced approach. Um, Firstly, operating systems and governments introduce new data and privacy regulations. So no more support for third-party cookies. It's getting harder to track and retarget customers to e-commerce spaces. From the standpoint of balance, it is important to note that consumers are more aware of privacy than ever from their own perspective itself. So more consumers leave brands because of over personalization than insufficient personalization. So when using consumer data, you must also find a way to build trust. Um, it seems that there's a whole kind of a negative kind of a story here, but now there are opportunities and good news. You have various platforms for creating interactivity nowadays, such as Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. E-commerce can capitalize on chats, videos, and live streaming for building live streaming strategy and even live shopping. So that could be a good news that uh, you could entertain.
Let's talk a bit more about execution then. So, for merchants, what are typically the key challenges when implementing personalization in e-commerce and how to overcome them? Shall we hear from Paige first?
I think one of the biggest challenge that we do face right now is that data collection, which is the fundamental to actually personalization. So I think Lazada or even the e-commerce marketplaces actually currently take care of this part for the sellers, so that they don't have to worry about this piece, right? This does help sellers who actually do not have the right knowledge or even resources to manage this piece of personalization. But on the other hand, when brands who are more ready, who wants to actually do more sophisticated or even customized form of personalization, and it has to be quite manual. And but this is also where Synagie actually can come in and also add value by being the go-between. Next, I think getting the message correct and also finding the right degree of personalization is actually another challenge that we face. So I think the platforms currently take care of most of the implementation. So the degree of how much we can actually do personalization or how much we can actually implement that in the future will very much depend on how fast as well as how well evolved the seller tools can become, so that the sellers can actually independently drive personalization. So that be it driving traffic to the products with good content or reviews, or even setting up targeted pages within the store itself to customize to different audiences with different content.
Anything to add on, Dr. Rowe?
Well, as I mentioned before, the ban of third-party cookies will adversely affect data collection for personalization. However, just like any other challenge in the market, this will be an opportunity for enterprises to get ahead of their competitors. So various hedging strategies could be devised. Here are a couple of ideas. First, companies should invest in measurement methods within their first-party data and within their own touchpoints to capture the interactions of customers well. Then the question becomes how, right? Here, the importance of walled garden will become even greater. The loss of cookies will drive the walled gardens as the premier and most reliable measurement platforms because you can connect exposure to outcomes of advertisements. Marketers and advertisers will increasingly pursue attribution analytics within these walled gardens with a unified signing system. That's my perspective.
Thanks for sharing this. Sonia, anything to add on from your end?
Yeah. I definitely agree with what AJ mentioned earlier that in order for you to really connect with the consumers, you need to get the messaging done right. You need to be able to provide this value to the customer at any given point in time in their journey. As I mentioned, a lot of the consumers do get annoyed and frustrated when personalization isn't in mind with these messages. So, as much as possible, we really try with our marketing campaigns to target them according to what we believe is right according to where they are at.
Thank you. Let's probably look into the future. So, Dr. Rowe, how do you think this need for personalization will evolve as part of the shopping behavior in the next 2 to 3 years?
Well, I mean, this is a sort of an empirical question. So I guess that the answers has to be pursued, right, along the way of investigation down the line. But some things that we need to keep in mind here is obviously buying and selling online becomes easier than ever. That brings challenge and opportunity. E-commerce continues to grow along with the competition. To perform better in this changing environment, one thing that we have to keep in mind here, we should build a strong culture of learning from data at each organization, not relying on your theory of past success. If there's a one thing that we have seen over and over again, and then that does not change much, is a theory is a weaker than data for predicting the future. So rather than relying on the past success of our strategies, we need to continue to uh, cultivate the culture of learning from data so that we can build our corresponding strategies in response to the changes that we see along the way.
Anything to add on, Paige, from your end?
I think I very much agree with Dr. Wu, right? Personalization today to me, and I think to 2 to 3 years later from now will still continue to be very much data driven. But probably what I really hope to see the change is for the application cases to actually add on maybe an additional layer of empathy and emotions. Empathy being the fundamental to human relationship on so how do we actually develop and also how can we actually adapt this into the digital commerce world to actually influence conversion and also deepen the loyalty of the customer would be something that would be great. Yeah.
Thank you. How about you, Sonia?
For me, the necessity of personalization will definitely expedite the way that brands and marketplaces will traditionally view the shopping experience. This shift in perspective will transcend more than just the customized messages to customers, but even go as far as providing personalized offers, unique landing pages, and automation in store engagement. So, very happy about that.
Very exciting. I mean, the future is certainly full of opportunity. And before we end today's discussion, I would like to hear the last piece of advice you would like to leave for our audience. Shall we begin with Sonia?
Sure. So, digital commerce has made buying increasingly non personal. Um, in a way, there's not a lot of human touch, and you don't get the same benefits as face to face shopping, right? It's also quite transactional and objective based, which is why personalization of digital touchpoints and all communications with the consumer becomes even more important for brand discovery, customer acquisition, retention, and loyalty. With Synagie, we actually feel that we're able to integrate this into our campaigns quite seamlessly. And obviously, with Lazada as our key partner in doing that.
Yeah. So I think to me, personalization is not just for leaders. I think anyone could implement it, and also it could be implemented on the simplest way that we could. And also, I think we should always be doing A/B testing. And if you are not yet sold by this idea, I think just consider that actually over one third of the customer consent to share their personal data in order to receive a more personalized advertisement as well as experience. Just echoing what Sonia mentioned earlier, they do not want to actually receive like a very generic kind of advertisement, right? And also do remember what I mentioned earlier, that this kick in actually most effectively only after we have our basics right and also done correctly. So invest in the foundation and then we can continue to actually build the business from there.
Uh, Let me provide a very quick kind of comment on that. Well, the reason why we focus on personalization is because we want to create some sort of sticky experiences with our customers. One-time purchase is not the ultimate goalpost of our platforms. What we want to do here is we want to bring our customers over and over again to our e-commerce platforms. If you want to accomplish it, ultimately what you want to aim at is to create a community with your customer. So the personalization should aim at particular goalpost that you wish to accomplish. And then one of the goalposts, this is also related to my idea that I shared with you earlier about the importance of word garden. You want to build a strong community with your customer ultimately using personalization.
Very interesting and good discussion today. We explored the personalized future of commerce. Thanks a lot for the insightful sharing. So, Dr. Ro, Sonia, and Paige, thank you for joining us and thank you for the insights.
This is Lazada Insider. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you click follow and subscribe so you don't miss our latest insights and expert interviews. Thanks again for joining us. Until next time, take care.